Truman's Last Chance. Rachel Pettingrill. As Truman rushed home from school, he repeated the name in his head throughout the school year. And the year before, Rachel Pettingrill had learned the highest science grade in the class. The truth was, she scored highest in every subject. Truman knew this because they compared scores on every test, every report, and every quiz. Truman was used to being the second to best to Rachel. But science is my thing, he declared to a stop sign. Truman's parents were scientists, and he would be a scientist. That was it, just a fact. And somehow, with only 1 week and one assignment to do before summer, he and Rachel were tied, dead even. To finish on top, his last report had to be great. It had to be better than great. The subject of the project was beehives. Truman's class had studied bees for 3 days, but he was ready. But as his teacher, Miss Lawrence, had explained, to earn an A+, he needed a new angle. Truman pushed the front door open to find his 4-year-old brother, Brian, sprawled on the living room rug, hard at work. Paper towel tubes were all over the floor. Brian leaped to his feet. "Truman, help me build a city." "I'd like to," Truman shrugged, "but I have to do a report on beehives and—" "Can I help you?" Brian begged. "I don't think so. Sorry, Bri." Truman stepped carefully between the scattered tubes. He went to his room, dropped onto the bed, and studied the ceiling. Rachel Pettingrill. Rachel's report would be pretty ordinary, but perfectly executed and accompanied by one of her incredible drawings. Truman had to come up with something great, but what? "Truman," Brian poked his head in. "Bri, I said, I can't play with you now." Truman tried not to sound mean. His brother could burst into tears and a hint of an unkind word. "I know where there's a beehive," Brian smiled. "Where?" Truman sat up. "In the woodpile by the garage." Brian copied Truman's stride, and the boys marched to the stack of firewood, bending down. Brian pointed out the beehive inside the pile. Truman took off several top layers of stacked wood and carefully removed the hive from its hole. "You got it!" Brian shouted back from his room. Truman sat at his desk, turning the fragile hive under a lamp. It smelled like old leaves. Each cell was a perfect hexagon. How did the bees fit the cells together so neatly? And how did they make each cell six-sided? Could they count? "Boys, dinner's ready," his mother called. Truman fought the rising panic as he glanced at his desktop. All through dinner, Truman struggled to keep his cool. If his parents found out he was working on a science project, they would run around pulling out books and volunteering ideas. He wanted to beat Rachel without their help. As he carried his half-empty plate of spaghetti to the kitchen, his father called, "Don't forget, Truman, it's your night to do the dishes." Truman glanced at the clock again. 7:05.